Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. Today we have the second installment of the Black Introvert series where you gain access to the loud mind of an introvert, and that is me. We are going to be discussing social anxiety and scopophobia. Let's get right into the video. To be very clear, I am not a professional. I am simply sharing my experience and even some helpful tips that has helped me with dealing with social anxiety as well as scopophobia. So what is scopophobia? Scopophobia is simply the fear of being seen or stared at. Social anxiety is a bit more common. Social anxiety is simply a mental health condition in which social interactions cause irrational anxiety. So let's get a little bit more vulnerable with one another. You're subscribed, you're family now, so let's get into it. I think it's super important for me to start off with the backstory. So from elementary school to present day, I've been labeled quite a few things. I've been labeled shy, quiet, timid, withdrawn. I've been labeled stuck up, antisocial, even mean sometimes. And it's all due to my temperament because of social anxiety. So there are 3 ways that you can experience social anxiety: physiological, behavioral, and cognitive. Physiological simply refers to the physical symptoms that you experience with social anxiety, such as the sweating of the hands, the heart beating super fast, and some of us, if we get really nervous, we have a rose-colored cheek going on. Those are some of the symptoms that you experience physically due to social anxiety. So behavioral is self-explanatory. That just deals with your behavior when you're engaging in social interactions. So if you decide to avoid events due to your anxiety, or even withdrawing or holding back your personality because you don't want to draw attention to yourself. Cognitive refers to your thought process when engaging in social interactions. Oftentimes, those who suffer with social anxiety, we have negative thoughts. We constantly question ourselves and question our actions. We're wondering how other people are perceiving us. So when we refer to cognitive, we're just simply referring to our thought process during those social interactions. So now let's get into some real life examples. If you have experienced these feelings or you have done these things to avoid social interactions, you may be dealing with social anxiety, but again, I would say check with a clinical professional because I am not that. I'm simply sharing my experience. So in college, I would intentionally come super early to class so that I could sit in the back. And it wasn't because I wasn't engaged or I didn't want to engage in the lesson for that day. It was simply because I didn't want people to look at me when I came into the room. It sounds so crazy now that I'm saying it out loud, but that was my reality. I also remember taking different pathways so I wouldn't have to engage in conversations with people in passing. So instead of taking the elevator, I would definitely take the stairs. I would also avoid going down certain aisles at the grocery store if there were people on that aisle. So even if it was something that I needed off of a particular aisle, I would go a different route to avoid people at the grocery store. I'm not as bad now, guys, so I'm gonna share a few things that I have done to help me to deal with my social anxiety. I will not say that it has helped me to cure it because I don't think that there is a cure for social anxiety. You just have to learn how to deal with it and find ways so that it doesn't hinder you from living your life. So the first tip or technique that I have is the gradual release method. I'm a teacher, and that's a method that we use in teaching where we gradually release students into doing something on their own when they're struggling with a concept. So for me, for social anxiety, I struggle with social interactions. So instead of throwing myself into a networking event where I just have to figure it out by myself, I would start off with something small. So I would ask a friend or two to come over to my house where I feel comfortable, and I would socialize and engage in that setting. Then I will gradually get into something a little bit more challenging for me, which is maybe asking a friend to go with me to a kickback. That is still a small setting, but it's a lot larger than 2 to 3 people. And then after that, maybe I'll go to a party with a really close friend or 2 close friends. And then once I'm really confident, I'll engage in a networking event by myself. So gradually exposing myself to those social interactions rather than throwing myself into it. The next method is cognitive restructuring. So that's basically restructuring your thought process. So a lot of the times when we suffer from social anxiety, we are often thinking about how other people are perceiving us, or if we embarrass ourselves, will we embarrass ourselves? We're constantly thinking about those social interactions, and most of the times, if not all of the time, it's negative. So restructuring those thoughts. So instead of thinking those negative thoughts, think more positive thoughts, or even questioning yourself. Like, is this rational? Is this really gonna happen? What's the likelihood of this happening? And really talk yourself and coach yourself through those social interactions. My last tip is to become comfortable with being uncomfortable for the sake of growth. That has been my life motto since 2020, when everybody's life turned upside down. And it has truly helped me put things into perspective. A lot of the times, if not all of the time, in order to grow, you will experience uncomfortable feelings. And you dealing with your social anxiety and trying to overcome it and deal with it is going to make you uncomfortable. So become comfortable with being uncomfortable for the sake of growth. I hope this video was helpful. Please comment down below if you suffer with social anxiety or scopophobia, or even if you know someone who is suffering from social anxiety. Please comment down below some of the techniques that you may have and strategies that you use. I can always use more. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye.